Your, sorry, I have your email pulled up too, in case I need to look at the questions you sent. But basically, it's
Oh,
just
okay.
sort of a check-in. Where are we? What do we do more of? What do we
Checking in because
switch
I
to?
tried to send kind of a little variety of
Great.
things. I think things are going pretty well.
Well,
I
and the
don't see
main
any huge
question,
problems. I guess my where I'm getting a little stuck is how much steering to do. But we could talk about that as we get into the videos
very good question. Very
at
good
this
question.
point.
Yeah.
And also, like you'll see in the videos, she's just always going to veer to either the gate to the pasture or the gate to the barn.
Yeah, they do that for a
She's always
while.
veering left if I just leave her alone. And I'm like, at some point we have to stop turning left. So
So
that's
that's very interesting because that is her excessive body weight on her left side,
and
pulling
it's
her
where
that
she wants to go. Right.
it's kind of where she's falling more
Right.
than where she wants to go.
Yes. And our arena to not be helpful is slightly sloped downhill to that gate that she likes to go to.
Okay. I love uneven footing. I prefer it
Oh, good, good.
because
We
I
tried to get them to
think,
level it, but it's level, mostly level, but there is a gravitational pull to where she wants to go.
yeah, my arena's on a slant as well. And I
Yeah,
really prefer it that way because you get the challenge and the benefits of the uphill, downhill while you're working on
true.
balance,
It's true. That's true.
which is sometimes good news, sometimes bad news.
Yeah,
Depends
right.
on which way you're going.
Yeah.
But just to kind of give you the big picture view, the left to right dimension of balance, whether we're talking human or horse, is directly related to steering, right? It
Hmm.
also is related to whether or not the horse can lengthen their neck. That's different than people. But the left to right aspect of three-dimensional balance is related to steering. And so it sort of depends if the horse is not lengthening the neck, then I may opt not to steer in order to get that internal balance
Right.
strengthened
Okay. Yeah.
first. If the horse is now more consistently lengthening the neck, even stuck in the posture of long and low, then I know for sure I need steering or I need transitions. So
Okay.
the front to back and up to down dimensions of the body I call,
Hmm.
I kind of the abbreviation I use, I call internal straightness, or
Hmm.
sorry, internal rhythm.
Okay.
So the left to right aspect of the three-dimensional body, I can separate because you can work on it independently from the front back up down. So I have
Hmm.
internal straightness is talking about that left to right dimension of internal
Hmm.
weight distribution and use.
Okay.
And then internal rhythm is the abbreviated term I use because in human or horse, we actually can't separate the horizontal from the vertical dimension of the body. They just
Okay.
work
That
like
makes sense.
this.
They'll work together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like if we have extra curve in our spine, we're not only out of balance front to back, we're also out of balance up to down. We no
Hmm.
longer have that straight line of force through our spine. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
So that's why it's connected.
Hmm.
So then with horses, I'm always kind of looking at developing balance through internal straightness and internal rhythm.
Hmm.
And we mix and match depending on the uniqueness of the horse and you and what's happening in the moment of your training session. So that's why I just wanted to clarify
Okay.
that's the easiest way we can break down the three-dimensional body is go internal straightness is related to all steering, and internal rhythm is
Hmm.
related to all speed, transitions, stride length, anything to do with speed, for speeding up or slowing down. All of
Okay.
that.
Okay.
That's why
Rhythm.
I call it internal rhythm or internal straightness. So we have steering to play with or not play with, and We have speed adjustments up or down to play with or not play with. And between those two basically cornerstones of all training, we all need steering and we all need to adjust speed, right?
Mhm.
Within that simplicity, we can work with the complexity of the body and sort of focus. Do we need stronger left-right balance, or do we need to sort of shift our focus to the front, back, up, down?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It
And I
does.
found typically, but not always, that if we balance a horse left to right, which is why we took away steering, was to get that
Mhm.
internal straightness. Internal straightness, when it's stable for the horse, will be a consistently long and low posture,
Mhm.
with or without steering, in the walk, in the trot, right? If
Mhm.
it's not that solid yet, the head and neck will be going up and down, shortening, lengthening, but not holding that long and low posture. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. Some
Okay.
horses
Okay.
can't hold the long and low posture until we play with transitions because the hindquarters are so disengaged. So that's what we're going to look at today is,
Okay.
are the transitions going to be the next logical step, or is steering, which is a think of I think of steering as an external path of travel,
Right. Right.
right?
Yes, I've heard you talk about that in your
Right.
videos. Yeah.
And the reason I differentiate is because internal straightness is what makes a horse sound. The external path of travel does not guarantee internal straightness,
Straightness. Yes.
right?
Yes. That's
Because
really
even,
helpful to separate those two.
yeah, because
It's
even in
very helpful to
a
separate
lameness
them.
exam,
Mhm.
I go
Yeah.
a three-legged horse is still trotting a straight line,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you get internal straightness, even as we blend in the other two dimensions to get full three-dimensional balance,
Mhm.
that left-right balance is what always creates length through
Mhm.
the whole top line.
Mhm.
That's the
Right.
dynamic result of that dimension of balance.
Right. And
D-
whatever we're doing, we don't want to lose that.
It's going to be part of, right?
Right. Right.
So when
Some
people
of
are
the,
first learning it, we can just focus on that until you understand what it feels like, how to correct it, how to balance your body when they lose their left-right balance, all of that.
okay.
And then the transitions are more related to the horse engaging the hindquarters and lifting the back.
Mhm.
But if we lose straightness in that process, it doesn't work.
Right. Isn't it useful? Useful.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So I just like to give big picture stuff
Good.
so that,
Good. Good.
because once I start giving you, oh, I'd try this, oh, I'd try that,
Uh-huh.
horses make a liar out of me all the time,
I'm
right?
sure.
So as soon as something works one day, it might not work the next day, because if sometimes when we're effective, it's going, sorry, they're giving me new options on Zoom. I just got derailed.
Oh,
I'm just trying to share the screen.
mm.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I can feel that things sometimes are different than they were like, wait, we just did this.
Yes, and
Okay.
that's the thing. Once we're effective, things change. And we sort of think training is training, and somehow it's like we never have to change what we do.
Right.
But when we're really working with a three-dimensional body and we're playing with coordination, I go, that coordination, especially when we effectively discourage an old bad habit that we want to
Hmm.
change,
Hmm.
now it's kind of a wild card what the horse is going to figure out to do next. That
Yes.
might not be balance, but it's going to be different than the old
Yes.
habit.
Okay. And that, yes,
And
that just
that's hard to keep up with. Like they keep us on
that
our toes.
keeps it interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely never boring. Even though we're working at the walk, what we do looks really boring to other people, but it's not boring to do.
No.
Okay, so I've got all four videos. You want to just go in order?
Yeah, yeah, because they
Okay.
kind of go in order. Because again, the first one, the 6 minute something one, again, was a couple rides after our first lesson, and like I said, many circles later.
Okay, why isn't it? Why isn't it opening? It opened beautifully last time. I didn't even,
Yes.
oops, that's not what I want. Oh, dang nabbit. Hang on a second. Why isn't it showing me a scroll bar or opening? Here, let
Right.
me try this. There we go. I think that big exclamation point is a error message. Okay, let me try the next video. Hang on. Let me
Okay.
go. Let me just try
Although
the
that's
next
bad because
one.
this first one's kind of important because it's the circle one, and you can see where she's doing much better with long and low than the previous time. But you know,
Okay.
can't get it. We can't get it. But
Well, it was the bottom one last time that worked, but when I click on that one, it's not doing anything. And when I click on this one, like I can expand it, I just can't hit
Mhm.
play. It's not giving me a play bar anywhere. It's giving me an edit, drag to move. Uh, well, let me check the next one because it is,
Okay. Okay.
um, it kind of like I am getting a sign in to iCloud Photos, but that shouldn't matter because it's your iCloud, not mine.
Right.
So this one is more like the other ones. It has a download option, and
How
then
weird.
this video should be the one that plays. Yeah, this one's working fine. I have no idea why the first one, but basically that triangle with an exclamation point is an
Yeah.
error. It's an
Yeah.
error message of
Right.
some
Right.
sort,
Which is strange because I send them to you exactly the same. But technology is what it
right?
is.
I know. So this one I'm able to play. So let's just
Okay.
start here.
Again, the first one, we we were doing a bunch of circles with staying long and low, definitely longer than before,
Good.
especially since there was a lot of stuff going on, and she was doing really well at the circles.
Okay,
So this one, I think I just wanted to show you the beginning of a ride.
perfect. Because,
And there's some spots in this where I kind of sail off into the one corner and disappear, but I do come back, I promise.
okay.
Um, so I'm mounting now because I got my phone
Mm-hmm.
going. So off we go. So again, I'm trying to do not much.
She looks like, even though we just see her briefly, first of all, she looks
Okay.
focused and calm.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
her first walk, I love the first 5 minutes of getting on because what the first 5 to 15 minutes of any ride tells you is how much of the changes we're looking for are sticking in her nervous system as a new
That's a good
habit,
point.
right? So
Now there's a
the warm up
okay,
to
I was just going to say
me,
there's
go ahead.
there's some trot poles around the arena because my daughter was using them for canter poles. So that's why there's a random pole there.
That's okay. What I loved was she had a very relaxed, rhythmic walk, walking off the mounting block, heading to the far end of the
Hmm.
arena. She came back in a nice, sort of rhythmic, relaxed walk, and the side view of you looks very good. You look more vertical, less heavy in your seat.
I do
And I
feel that way.
and I can tell a little bit like it's hard to see that far back, but I can kind of see where you shift yourself forward, like you're noticing, oh, I'm back in my seat, and then you shift back
Yeah, you
into
do
your
have to keep
legs.
noticing.
Yeah. And it takes a lot of awareness, which it takes a lot of energy to have that much awareness that you can keep catching your body in your old habit and change it. But that's the deal. That's just how it kind of works. So I love when I look at, say, the lengthening of the neck. You can think of her lengthening and falling into long and low as the result of her equalizing her weight pretty well left to right.
Yeah, she
And
feels a lot more stable left to right. Absolutely. This
excellent.
is where I disappear in the corner because she halts and then we'll be back.
That's okay. And the other thing it tells us about her is that she is engaged enough in her hindquarters at this point that it really is for this horse more of a left to right balance issue than it is related to the front back, which would be more of a hindquarter engagement or disengagement problem. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So,
And
in
that
other
makes
words,
sense because she's pretty fit, you know. I mean, muscular, she's got strong hindquarters. So it's not like I have to, rehab muscles or anything. It's the balance.
it's more the balance. So, she's even horses that are well muscled. If they're unstable in the use of their pelvis, they can't hold long and low.
Hmm.
Even though
Oh,
long and low
okay.
has more to do with left-right balance, if they're crooked and they're disengaged, it takes them a long time to transition into long and low because it's a double
Hmm.
whammy.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
good news with her is it looks like it's not a double whammy, it's just the singular, straightforward issue of her left to right
I think
balance.
that's true. And she's
Mhm.
doing some stopping, but then she's quite okay with moving on. So I just figure that's what she's doing.
Yeah, and the stopping and the slowing down is her really sort of relying on her hindquarter more than she does when she has a short neck,
Okay. And kind of organizing herself, right?
organizing her hindquarter use. And the fact that she is now holding the posture of long and low as much as she is just in this ride,
Hmm.
I go, if it's there 50% of the time or better on any given ride and for 3 to 6 subsequent training sessions. I
Hmm.
go, that's the kind of consistency I'm looking for that tells
Yeah. And I
me,
feel like we're good.
yeah, I think you're there, at least at
Right.
the walk. And I think it was the trot that made it easier for her, didn't it?
It did. The trot helps her. And the next video has some trotting.
Great.
But this is great for you to look at this that we're okay, even though we keep you notice she's does not choose to go in the upper half of the arena. That's like
Mm, because
it,
that's where the bears live. Yes.
well, that is where the bears live. When I first got her, which was like 6 years ago, it was summer and there was squash growing in the garden. And I don't know how long it took us to be able to ride past the scary squash.
Right. And what
So,
you'll find is like the learning frame of mind part, which is just
mm,
the fact that the parasympathetic nervous system is dominant. That's another
mhm,
thing that is situationally dependent. And so
mhm,
anytime she shows signs of fight or flight or stress or,
mhm,
anything that's other than calm and focused, basically,
mhm,
those are your training opportunities as they arise to
mhm.
to reinforce the learning frame of mind. This whole ride, there hasn't been a single moment you've needed to do that. So if you don't need to
No,
do it, you don't need to do it.
she's been very calm, even with things happening. It's an open arena. There's my dog, and there's the turkeys across the road, and then she has to keep an eye on her gelding in the pasture to make sure that he's not doing something she needs to know about. She's been very focused on me.
Yeah. And just there, she lost her focus for the first time.
Right there,
Yeah.
she's looking at whatever was happening.
So, but you get her back easily. And so basically, if I don't have calm focus, I need to get that as my first order of business. If I have a calm focus, my second order of business is going to be the physical balance, either
Mhm.
internal straightness or internal rhythm. And so basically, what you'll find is, let's say theoretically you walked her past some squash and she had a
Yeah.
stress response. Right there at that location is your training moment.
That
What
makes,
you'll
yeah.
find is as her coordination improves, she's not going to have those moments. You're going to find she's a much more confident horse overall, even though she's still a horse and will still have
Yeah.
those moments. You're going to find it just happens less frequently because
Yes.
the better they feel inside their own skin, the less
hmm
defensive they are to the rest of the world.
And that is absolutely happening with her
Mhm.
because she's very calm, but when something startles her, that thick horse can move very
Oh, yeah.
quickly. And she really has been very non-reactive. She'll look at something happening, but that's fair. She
Yeah.
gets to look, right?
No, and
Even a
it's pretty
little.
funny because people will say, "Oh, this work would be far too boring for my horse." And I go, every horse that
Oh
starts to
no.
work on their coordination, they look like this quiet concentration that she's showing. They are never bored when it comes to how they're moving because every step makes a difference to them. Oh, very nice. So I want to go back just a smidge on this video. There's only two things I want to say about this video. One is, yes, it's time to start steering. And two is before, oh, I think this is where you disappear. That wasn't a good moment. Oh, wait, yes. Okay. So I would take a tiny, weeny bit more of a shorter rein when you ride her, because as she's lengthening her neck, a little bit of the back and forth of lifting and lowering her neck has to do with the neck bone stability, the alignment of the neck bones and skull to the upper back. Okay, she's a little
Okay.
unstable there. So as she's letting go of the muscular tension, her skeleton is not super stable underneath. So the reason you want to take a little bit shorter rein is, and this is it's a mental thing. I don't know how else to explain it. But when I take up a light
Okay.
rein, I want to feel through my hands the bones of the neck, particularly the lower neck bones and the relationship of the lower neck bones to the moving scapula,
For some
right?
reason, that actually makes a whole lot of sense because I can feel that her shoulders being, I mean, it's minuscule, but
I love
I
working with
wouldn't
you,
say
Pat.
wobbly, and I think that's maybe why I've been feeling that maybe if I took up a little bit of contact, I could help her.
Definitely. So, what we're doing with our body, and I'm not really, unless it comes up, what I'm seeing in this video on your balance, I don't think we need to focus on that for this lesson. We'll see with the other videos.
Okay.
But your balance, and you're aware of when you sit back and you're self-correcting. So we're just going to let that you're going to keep repeating it and practicing it before we
Yes, I'm
add
going to
more
have to
to you.
keep self-correcting for quite a while, but
Yes.
yeah.
But you're feeling it, you're
Yes.
self-correcting, you're checking
Yes.
your weight, so you get a gold star on that. And we don't want to monkey with it right now.
And
And
it feels wonderful. I feel more stable.
excellent.
I
So you
really do. That little bit of discovering my inner thigh there is awesome.
Because once you get through the weird feeling of it being new and unfamiliar,
hmm
People often describe it as feeling safer and more secure because
Yes.
physically you're actually in a better relationship to gravity. So you are
Yes.
safer.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. And so for her, just looking at this video, when you take the reins, we think we're feeling the mouth because that's where they're connected. But through the reins, everybody can feel the neck bones and particularly the lower neck because where she needs a little help stabilizing her skeleton is the lower neck relationship to the upper back. So the upper back is where your seat bones are,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so you want to alternate between the left and right rein as needed. So when she wobbles her neck, the base of the neck is going to go closer to one scapula or the other. And you might want to play with this before you start steering. Okay.
Okay.
Just feel, again, it's the last piece of internal straightness. We can do 90% of the work with our body, but without reins, we can't help horses stabilize the neck.
Okay.
And
So it's okay.
even if it were a bitless bridle, we still need reins to help them stabilize the
Mm-hmm.
neck.
Mm-hmm. So it's okay that we meander around in this one part of the arena
Absolutely.
for now.
Yes.
Okay.
Because the focus is still, you've gotten enough left to right balance going that her neck is long way more of the time than it's short. That's excellent. That tells us we're going
Okay.
to add in the piece of the neck, and
Okay.
you will get even more consistency of a lengthened posture. Maybe long and low, but you're going to have a little bit of rein contact, so it might not be
Mhm.
long and low. Um, and just play with that. Maybe you might only need a ride or two before you add in the steering.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. That makes sense.
And let me actually go back before we move on. Let me go back to that video. Um, so then the neck, s- the stabilizing the lower neck alignment to your seat bones is your point of reference. So between your hands are going to feel the neck bones. Your upper thigh is going to kind of know where each scapula is, where the shoulder blades are. And then your seat bones know precisely where the center of her spine is. And all of those are moving targets. None of them are stationary,
So
right?
true. Yes.
So we're trying to build a relationship of stability internally. So the reins, you feel where your seat bones are. And if the base of her neck is closer to one scapula or the other, if it bends towards the right scapula, you're going to
Okay.
feel the right shoulder push out and probably the left shoulder drop down, or vice versa.
Okay.
So,
Right.
all this obsession that people have over the shoulders, I go, what actually controls both shoulders and front legs to remain upright, especially on turns and steering, is the alignment of the neck between the shoulders. So give yourself time to feel that because that's going to be true on every single path of travel. So that's why I said you don't have to steer yet if you need the internal focus to get the feel of it.
So if her right shoulder is out,
That means her neck is pushed that direction.
okay. So I feel that. I feel that in my seat, my reins. What do I do?
So in that case, you're going to have, let's say, I have to, I get dyslexic, so I have to really think it through. So
Yeah, that's
you're saying the right shoulder is pushing out.
let's say the right shoulder.
Okay, so do this in your body because it really helps us understand it.
Okay, that would be very helpful.
Yeah. So I have kind of my forearms resting on the tabletop, and I'm going to push my right shoulder out. Notice the lower part of your neck goes with it. So my lower cervical spine goes towards the shoulder that is pushing out,
Yes.
My opposite shoulder drops down and
Yes.
contracts, but my neck bend is opposite of the shoulder pushing out.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
And
if
it's
I,
happening when I do that. Yes.
yes. So forever, every arena I've ever been to, somebody's fixing the shoulders, right? Using lifting the rein, pushing with the leg, whatever, right? You
I've
fix
been through the lifting the rein thing, which doesn't work.
it doesn't work because if you think about it, right, this shoulder is out. If you lift the rein, it might work if the horse figures out how to reverse the bend, but you still don't have upright shoulders. You've just reversed the problem.
And with her, she's like, oh, yay, something to brace on.
That too. Absolutely. They'll just lean on it. Yes. And go, oh, thanks for the help. Now I don't have to
Exactly.
move.
She
Yeah.
loves the brace. Yeah.
Yeah. So think of basically the shoulder bulging. It's really the whole unit. So let's say these are the scapula and the neck
Mhm.
always runs between the two scapula,
Mhm.
right? The shoulders only move. They move as one unit. So a horse isn't going to bulge a shoulder out to the right and the left. That's impossible. If the shoulder bulges to the right, the left one is going to come in. And that means the whole neck is on a left bend.
I
So,
have lost,
so
I have
in that,
lost,
oh,
I've
sorry, go.
lost my screen. Do you have any idea what I should do?
Oh, you've lost me completely.
Let's see. Shoot.
Let me do
It's now
this.
back to joint meeting.
Okay. I just
Wait.
stopped the share.
Okay.
Can you find me?
Let me hit.
Check that your video is on.
It wants me to join the meeting again.
Okay, try that.
Oh, there we are. Okay.
Okay. I
Yeah.
don't know why these
Who
things
knows?
happen,
I
right?
tried, who knows? Again, technology, it
Ex
does
ex
what it does. Kind of like
ex-
horses, it does what it does.
right. Sometimes horses are just like technology. We don't know why it does what it does,
That's
but
right.
it has a reason. Okay,
Yeah.
let me share the
Okay,
screen.
so we're bulging out to the right.
Oh, actually, hang on. Let me illustrate it this way, right? If these are the shoulder blades, right? They can't bulge and bulge.
Mhm.
They can't both suck in, right? So if I have a bulging right shoulder, the left one's coming in. And if you imagine the neck between them, that neck now is on what we would call a left bend.
Mhm.
That left bend, even if we can't see it, we can feel it in the reins before it bends to the point that we can see it.
Yes.
So, how do I know if the horse's neck looks straight, but the
Mhm.
lower neck is doing that and pushing the
Mhm.
right shoulder out? How do I know that that's happening?
Because it'll hit, in this case, my right rein.
Bingo. I love
Yeah.
working with you, Pat. Absolutely. The right rein will be heavier than the left. The left
Yes.
one will get
Okay.
slack. The right one will increase tension. Even if you have your reins exactly the same length,
Okay.
we feel a horse bend long before we can see it.
Okay.
So just like with your seat bones feeling the rotation, the up and down, we don't really feel the bend from the shoulders to the tail. We feel the rotation more than we feel the
Mhm.
bend once
Mhm.
we get behind the withers.
Mhm.
Anything in front of the withers, we don't feel the rotation, we feel the bend.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah.
So our hands are the primary tool with the reins to just say, don't bend your neck, please. Keep it between the scapula and your seat bones fit between her scapula.
Okay. So I feel her on my right rein. What do I do? What exactly?
Resist. Just
Just
resist.
resist that.
That's where you give the rein aid
Okay.
to straighten the neck. The goal is straight neck on equal tension reins, But
Okay.
you're not the one changing the length or the tension of the reins. You're the one saying you
Okay.
can't, you, when she bends, if you had theoretically exactly the same length of rein and your hands did not move, then every time she invisibly bent the neck to the left, you would feel, and I like to talk about rein pressure with numbers, right? So 10 is
Yes,
very
yes, I've
heavy,
seen you do that. Yeah.
10 is heavy, 1 is light.
Okay.
If she's on a left bend with her neck, about to push the right shoulder out, the left rein, let's say we had a 5 contact on an equal length of rein, right in the middle. The left rein's going to go 5, 4, 3, 2. The right rein's going to go 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay.
Rule of thumb to keep the neck straight, resist on the heavy rein.
Okay.
You
My
can't do anything on the other rein anyways.
my seat bones are going to stay straight.
So, welcome to
I
just
want to, so there's something I want to do with my seat in this situation. I feel it.
So this is the simplest version of how complicated it gets. It is impossible for human or horse spines to rotate, which is what you feel in the saddle, without also lateral bending. Those two spinal functions are connected. They happen together all the time. So,
Okay.
like when I wanted you to feel rotation, or if I want someone to feel rotation, I say bend the neck. You'll feel the rotation,
Mhm.
right? So, even you can only address the rotation with your body weight in the saddle. That's the effective place to resist rotation in the horse's spine, which you've done so well that now she's keeping her neck long way more time than she tries to
Mhm.
shorten it.
Mhm.
So what that tells me is you've got the rotation pretty darn stable, but the fact that she doesn't hold the new posture, I think, has to do with the amount of bend, which we address through the neck and the reins.
Okay. And that
So,
feels totally what you're saying. I can feel that that's it.
yeah,
You
so
know?
think of the equation of internal straightness, if we're
Mhm.
talking mechanics, is reducing all lateral bending and reducing all rotational movement of the horse's spine. So, like no bending plus no rotation equals internal straightness,
Okay.
right? And the
Mhm.
rotation and bending are happening on a minuscule level. So people who get into biomechanics, they think that's a natural movement. I go, when it's tossing us around the saddle or we can see it, it's excessive.
Mhm.
When it feels like it doesn't move at all from our perspective, that's the right amount of movement through the spine. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So this is where you're going to do two things. You have to continue doing what you're doing with the high side, low side in the saddle,
Mhm.
but now with your rein contact. So this is the pat your head, rub your belly.
Mhm.
You're thinking about keeping the lower neck on a straight apps. I imagine it like a little arrow or a beam of light
Mhm.
from just in front of the withers to my seat bones. And I feel the two scapula, right? So I feel if the neck is centered between those
Mhm.
scapula to my seat bones,
Mhm.
or if that line is a little wiggly or bendy. So even though my resistance to the bend is through the rein to her mouth, you're trying to affect the lower neck relationship
Mhm.
to the back.
Mhm.
So you feel, even if it's like, let's say when it's a 5 and a 5, her neck is actually straight to her back, right? But even if it
Okay.
goes 5, 6 on the left rein, it's going to go 5, 4 on the right rein.
Okay.
That's a tiny little bend that we still don't want.
And my, so to the right, I kind of feel like my right seat bone wants to help push the shoulder over. Does that make any sense at all?
Seat bones don't affect shoulders. because what affects the shoulders, and
I
this
wonder
is,
why I feel that. But anyway, that's just my body.
well, what you're feeling is the rotation function is moving the
Okay.
whole rib cage. So it's not
Oh, I see. Because you
actually,
said they, okay. All
so
right.
you think it's the shoulder. So you think, oh, the shoulder is here
So
and
I
I've
need to
moved
push
the
it over.
shoulder. But what you're doing with your seat is when the shoulder was here, the rib cage was there.
Hmm.
And so with your body weight, you pushed the rib cage here and it made you feel like you affected the shoulder.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
Because the shoulders are not attached to the rib cage.
That is true. That
That
is
is why
true.
it's important to get that detail. So what affects the shoulders is the neck alignment between them. That's what affects the shoulders,
Okay.
right?
So my seat bones are just kind of
Your seat bones are affecting the entire thorax.
right, exactly.
That is a
So
big
while I'm
ass deal.
doing this resist with the rain, I can't forget about my seat bones to adjust for the rotation. Okay.
Pat your head and rub your belly. That's why I said you can wait on the steering if
Okay.
because
Gotcha.
that, it's a lot to start
Gotcha.
to
It's a
feel the
lot. It's a lot.
internal
It's a lot.
workings.
But I can feel what you're saying, so we have hope.
Yeah, and so if we
Yeah.
add in
Okay.
a rain contact that when her neck wiggles, and let's go back to the video because if we just look at the video we were looking at before, right? Let me go back a little, just a little bit. What you see is she's more stable in her hindquarter and back now, but you can see the longer her neck gets, the more it just has a little shake through it. It just
Okay.
has a
Hmm.
little wobble. And
Hmm.
somehow I must keep picking the part of the video where you're in the corner. I don't know why I do that. There you come. Okay. So it's one of those things that she's shifting from using her muscles for stability into using her bones. She's also shifting from organizing her stability on the front end to organizing her stability on the hindquarter. Great things, huge progress. Well done, right? So, what she's struggling with right now is you can kind of see it like when she's walking, there's just a little wiggle through her neck and head.
Hmm.
That's the instability of the skull and neck bones.
Okay.
That's
Yes, because
why,
that's I can feel that. Yes.
yes. And the only way we can stabilize the skull, neck, and front legs, which we feel through the shoulders, is by resisting all of the wiggle. There's actually can be a twist that we're resisting, but we don't really feel that part. But do you see on the loose rein how her lower neck just shifts a little bit back and forth?
Yes, and I know because I feel that when I ride.
Yeah. So that's
And
what
that's
you're going to reduce.
okay. Okay.
And you can't like just to make sure I cover my traditional bases. You can't hold her neck there.
Correct. Correct.
It's an alternating
Now,
rein aid
hmm,
until she can hold her neck there.
yes. And that's again tricky with her because she's like, oh, there's something I can brace on. Yeah.
That's why you don't hold her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when
Okay.
people
And that's a good
hold,
reminder.
right, when people try to hold the neck straight with too much rein contact, and
Right.
it's both hands, not alternating hands, horses like
Right.
her, they go, thanks, I'll just keep my neck crooked and stay there. Thanks very much.
Yes. When I try to use my outside rein to keep her not falling to the left, that doesn't work. They say it works, but it doesn't work at all because if you're holding that rein, yeah, it just
So what
I'm
you're
mumbling, but
trying,
I agree with you're saying. I need to be really conscious of not a holding thing with her. Because that's
Right.
what we want to do. We want to like, hey, go here and stay here.
Right.
We're not okay.
And that it's just like you can't hold your position even on a bicycle.
Yeah.
You don't hold your position on the gas pedal or the brake in a car.
Mhm.
You don't even hold the steering wheel. We say hold it steady. It's not really
Right.
that. So I'm just going to pull up the next video, but we haven't talked about steering yet, and I want to make
Yes, the next
sure.
video would be wonderful. And the last one is crummy, so we don't even have to look at it. But this
Oh,
next one is good because we do some plotting.
oh, great. So even if you don't add in steering, because you want to give yourself the time you need to really feel that relationship of the lower neck between these moving scapula, because the scapula are constantly changing direction in small amounts,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Or they're bulging,
Hmm.
or they're dropping, or they're doing weird things. If you just keep lining up the lower neck, you feel an equal amount of space between the two scapulas, wherever they happen to be, and you're basically trying to line up the lower neck to your seat bones, which is a moving
Hmm.
target, right? But it's the
Hmm.
same relationship within the moving target. Great. I love just that she kept her neck long for the walk, for the upward transition, for the trot, and for the downward transition. So you're
So
definitely ready. You're
okay, it feels like we've had some good transitions along the way. This is where I'm kind of playing with the figure eight. I called it a figure eight-ish
mhm.
because it's not really a figure eight, but it's kind of doing something different than a circle.
Yeah.
And I'm letting her, it seems it was really been really helpful. I'm letting her walk when she wants to walk,
Yes, because
like you said. So that's, yeah,
her
she's
choosing
giving,
a downward transition is a gold nugget of building
yes, yes,
engagement.
that's been very helpful. And she really likes that. And then if I pick the right moment, she's happy to trot.
Yes.
If I don't pick the right moment, she's the first to tell me, like, this is not going to work.
I love that you can feel that. Yes,
I want to make it work. I still have to fight that down.
I know.
That's
So
manners and
I'm thinking that basically adding in a more stable neck alignment to your seat bones, whether and not take the time you need, walk and trot to play with that without steering until you feel
Mhm.
like you know what I'm talking about. You
Now
feel
here to do a figure eight-ish, I'm kind of steering.
you're kind of steering, and that's where I think I want to go over the how to steer part because whether it's walk or trot, and I think particularly at the walk, she's ready for steering because it refines the left to right balance. So the two
Hmm.
ways we're going to refine the left to right balance, because I think your transitions, your speed adjustment related to hindquarter engagement and lifting of the back is not the bigger issue for this mare just yet. I think
Okay.
her bigger issue is more related to her left right balance.
Yes.
So I'm thinking she's consistently long enough through her neck. You're really mastering where you need to be in the saddle. That's a big deal to control the rotation of the thorax and the pelvis. Big deal.
Okay.
So the
Thank you.
two ways we're
Still
going to
takes a lot of work. Yeah.
it is a lot of work. And so pretty soon it just becomes how you ride.
Yes,
You
yes. It is
can't get on
becoming
a
more
horse.
so. Yes, it
Yeah.
is becoming more so.
Um, so adding in the neck bone alignment is the first level of refinement for her straightness.
Mm-hmm.
And then steering, we're going to look at as the second level of refining her left to right balance. So this is where the way you give aids is what makes the difference between getting a dysfunctional horse to travel an accurate path of travel, or your accurate path of travel is actually improving the horse's balance. It's all in how you
Mhm.
give the aids. It's not
Okay.
just get the path of travel by any means necessary.
Right, right. That can be done.
That can be done. We see it every day with horses that are
Yes,
severely out of
I can do
balance.
that. I can
Yeah,
get her to go
right.
wherever.
So now that your position is more stable and we've added in the neck alignment with the reins, the way you're going to ask for the turn, and if it doesn't work, I think at this point it would be better to abandon ship on the steering and return to
Okay.
a level back and a straight neck whenever needed.
Okay.
Because once people start steering, we are deeply conditioned unconsciously to not give up. And that's when we revert back to our
Oh,
old
that is so
habits,
true.
right?
That is that's it. That is so true.
Oh, and it's deep. Like it's just
It's very deep.
it's
Yes.
very deep. Yeah. And it sort of triggers a little bit of a feeling of loss of control. And so some people kind of panic when the steering doesn't work. And but if you just go, look, we're going to try a few steps of steering and then back to passenger.
Hmm.
Or we're going to try steering, but only this way. And if it doesn't work, oh, we're still passenger. We'll try it again in a few strides,
Okay.
right? So the way you're going to steer, and you can feel this if you sort of straddle the chair you're sitting on and you're in balance, think of your pelvis and your sacrum and lumbar are the
Hmm.
origin of your turns.
Hmm.
Okay. So if I want to track a straight line, my arms and legs are either side of my stable seat bones, pelvis, lumbar. So
Yes.
I point my pelvis and lumbar where I want to go,
Hmm.
and I use my arms, my seat bones pointed, say 12 o'clock on a straight line is where I'm putting my whole body. And that is
Hmm.
guiding the center line of the horse to the same path. Now,
Hmm.
because she's not perfectly balanced left to right, she's going to push outward when she loses her balance, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So the inner path of travel is your midline and her midline. The outer part of the path of travel are your arms and legs and her front legs
Hmm.
and hind legs.
Hmm.
So you think of your path of travel no wider than the horse, or at least, if
Hmm.
nothing else, a sidewalk, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Nothing wider than a sidewalk. So as you track down your intended sidewalk, and I love sidewalks because they can be round, right? They can be curved, they can be figure eight shape, they can be any shape, but a sidewalk always has a left and a right side.
Hmm.
So whatever sidewalk you're on, your first and foremost job is to put your body in the center of that sidewalk while you're still noticing the up down and the neck bend.
Hmm.
So now we're adding, it's like every layer, we're not able to forget about what you worked on before because we're going to add to it.
Yes. Yes.
So
Hmm.
with steering, you're now patting your head, rubbing your belly, and stomping your foot. It's three things to do,
Okay.
right? And you can always go backwards. You can always
Yes.
say,
Yes.
yeah, let me go
Yeah.
back to
And
this.
I've done that. That's helpful for her. Like, forget about this. Let's go back to what we kind of know how to do better.
Right. Because you're always reinforcing, which is how you build balance.
Hmm.
So the steering, and what I tell people is imagine your path of travel is under the saddle, not in front of you. So if you were not on a
Hmm.
horse, you could easily walk down the middle of a sidewalk. Not
Hmm.
hard. right? So in your
Hmm.
mind, you pretend you're doing that. The outer edges of the sidewalk are your arms and legs. So if she veers to the right side of the sidewalk, you're going to
Hmm.
resist with your right rein, right leg, right seat bone, right whatever, but you're not going to try to push her sideways. You're going to try to ask her to go forward back towards the left side of the sidewalk, right? Or if she drifts to the left
Okay.
side of the
Okay.
sidewalk,
Hold on here. So I may have a misconception going in my little brain. So we're going down the sidewalk and she veers one way or the other. Say she veers to the left, which would be
hmm
her favorite.
hmm
So I've got my left rein and my left leg. And I, in my little brain, think should be shifting my weight back to the middle of the sidewalk,
well,
which is asking her kind of to move over. And now I've got a lot of pressure going. But
yes.
there's something different about what you just said to just steer her forward. I don't know
Okay.
if that makes any sense what I just mumbled.
No, I think I get what you're saying. So we tend to think of our rein and leg aids as an active pulling or pushing gesture,
Yes. Yes, that's what I feel like is that I'm gonna push her back over to the middle.
right? And so what I'm saying is
Oh,
when you use this idea of a sidewalk, you always have on any path of travel, doesn't matter the shape of the path. You have a left and right side sidewalk width path. That's it, right?
okay.
Whatever you decide, where you decide to walk your body becomes the path of travel, just as if you were
Hmm.
walking on the ground. So you feel your path of travel under you as you go. It's under your feet, it's under the
Yes.
saddle, right?
Yes. But then she decides she doesn't care about that.
Right. So
And
your right and left limbs become the edge of the sidewalk,
yes.
right? So, in other words, if you think of her movement like a river,
Hmm.
your outer limbs, your aids, are the the channel. It's
Hmm.
the culvert to let the
Hmm.
water flow through. Does that make sense? So,
Yes. But
so
she,
when she pushes against your right side, you're resisting. Think of yourself more like a fence post that she's pushing
okay.
against, not an
Okay.
active pusher. You're
Okay.
the pushee, right? So when
Okay.
you give resistance, and it works just like a culvert for water, the water hits it with force and then goes forward. It doesn't hit it and go opposite direction. The water flows forward, right? So
True.
the horse's energy is like a river. And so when you create resistance, if we give a traditional leg aid, what we're trying to do is push the river sideways back into the track.
Oh.
And if you imagine a culvert that could have moving banks, all right, if I took that
Hmm.
same action and I had a lever, so the water comes and pushes on the right side of the bank and my lever pushes it left, where's that water going to go? It's going to splash out the other side. It's not going to go forward anymore,
Right.
right? So the culvert is passive. That's how we use our arms and legs. Wicked strong takes a lot of energy.
Yeah,
Wicked
because
strong.
she will blow through AIDS if she really feels strong. But I'm thinking what you said, if I think more about redirecting energy rather than pushing, that's going to give her a different feeling. Again, less something to brace against.
With your
Because she can
particular
then brace
horse,
against my leg and sail off wherever she wants to go. I mean, it's not like she's sailing across the arena or anything, but we're
but
more outside. We're up on the bank instead of in the river.
well, and it's because we're trained to think that our aids are moving body parts. I go, no. Aids, when we try to move body parts with our leg aid, seat aid, or rein aid, right? What we're doing is horses like her, we're setting them up to lean on us because they're bigger than us. They outweigh us. They are way stronger than us. All we're doing is giving them something to prop their imbalance on,
Oh, that is so true. And she
right?
is going to teach. This is a horse that she's a good teacher.
Yes. Yes.
But
And
I'm
this
like,
is where,
why aren't
and
these things working? They're supposed to work.
well, and it makes me crazy because some horses get labeled as a man's horse because they get so heavy. And
Oh, yeah.
they get so heavy from strong riders and then leaning on strong riders. But I go,
hmm
any horse in self-carriage is light. There is no such
hmm
thing as a man's horse.
hmm
So if you think of your aids, right, as a
hmm
culvert, and what you're doing is
Yeah. Okay.
taking you're taking the river and you're deciding the direction it's going. So your arms and legs are the corridor for her energy. Your midline is the
Yeah.
center of that corridor. Your arms and legs are the outer edges of that corridor.
Yeah.
And so when you go to turn, and this is, I think I started this and then shifted what I was saying. If you sit on your chair and straddle,
hmm
when you turn, if you turn your seat bones and midline to 12 o'clock,
hmm
your arms and legs should feel symmetrical, and
hmm
that's a straight path of travel,
hmm
right? Now, if you can't twist your head or neck more than you can twist your lumbar. This is the trick.
hmm
So I go
hmm
now, twist your lumbar to your left. When you twist your lumbar to the left and hold it, don't allow your shoulders or head to go farther than your lumbar. That's the
hmm
tricky part. So your
hmm
nose is always over your own belly button,
hmm
right? And when you
hmm
hold that, here's what you're going to feel your limbs do automatically. Holding
hmm
a left turn, my left thigh is going, sorry, my right thigh is going to close and guide the turn.
hmm
My right thigh opens to the turn.
Okay.
My right calf moves slightly back to guide the turn. And my
Okay.
right calf
Yeah. hmm
feels connected to the ground, like the leg the horse is supposed to move around, right? My arms, my shoulders are now following. So I just took left rein and gave on the right rein because I moved my
My,
center.
I'm turning left, and you said my outside leg is going to feel like it's connected to the ground.
No, inside.
Inside leg. Oh, okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's what in Western training we called scissor legs because your legs are doing two different
Right,
things.
right, right. And I could see that happening. Now, here's the question. Do I try to hold this or is it a twisting thing? Do I twist
As
straight?
long as you are on, let's say you want to make a left circle,
Okay.
you have to hold that left rotation in your body as long as you're tracking left. Because what you did was you just took your inner direction onto a left curve for as
hmm
long as you want.
hmm
And your outer limbs have adjusted that corridor. So it took the whole river of energy in a different direction, just like a culvert,
hmm
right? So if I
hmm
want to make a right turn, I have to build the culvert that direction.
Okay.
So if I
Okay.
want a straight path of travel, my body's at 12 o'clock. If
hmm
I want a left turn, it's really no farther than 11:30, really. You can think
hmm
11 o'clock, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or if I want a right turn, I'm now heading towards 1 o'clock, maybe 12:30-ish,
Uh-huh.
right? So you hold the direction as long as you want to go that direction. You are setting the path of travel. You are the builder of the culvert,
Okay.
right? While you're building the culvert, you also have to manage the flow of the water, right? So
Yes.
if you,
Yes.
this is where if you're pushing your leg in or pulling your rein out, you've just broken the wall of the culvert and
Mm.
the energy dissipates, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you kind of hold your shoulders, you can adjust your arms a tiny bit for that neck issue we talked about. But if you just hold your center line on your intended path, the way it helps the horse balance is basically all of that dysfunctional force is bouncing back and forth off the culvert in an unpredictable and really rapid way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
we're always late with our aids. If we're not a stable
Yeah.
edge,
Yeah.
then we're late. Because
Yeah.
by the time we think through our brain to make a gesture, her body's already changed 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
this one I have that same.
Isn't that strange? The first and the last one?
Yeah, so just check your settings um, because you had two that worked great
I
and
know. And that was
and
fine
one,
last time.
yeah, because this one the same thing, and I don't know why, but
Okay, I'll do a little research
okay.
on that.
And I am not that well versed with iCloud sharing.
No,
Otherwise,
that's fine. I'm not either. This is my first try at it. So,
okay. YouTube, I kind of know what to do, but it's like this one, I don't know what to do.
yes, I will do a little research. Well, this has all been extremely, extremely helpful.
Yeah.
I mean, really,
So
really helpful.
the
So,
hard part of steering, and this is why in the dressage pyramid system, they put straightness at the top. And I go, I would
hmm
agree if we're talking about a balanced horse on an accurate path of travel, then I would agree.
hmm
But
hmm
internal straightness, I put at the very base of the pyramid. I go, it's a
hmm
building block. And
hmm
the reason I said steering would be a good thing to start playing with, like first
hmm
solidify the skull to tail relationship through the
hmm
midline
hmm
and help her stabilize that. And then when you steer, when you're turning in the saddle, the way a balanced horse turns would be if I took this pen and there's my little
hmm
seat bones in the middle of this long line. It does not take a big movement to change the trajectory of the pen
Yeah.
because
Yes.
I'm in the middle, right?
hmm
That's what
hmm
you're doing with your seat bones. And then your arms and legs out here are
hmm
working in isometric resistant force,
hmm
right? So
hmm
she pushes on you, you never push on her. That is a
Okay.
massive difference.
Okay. That
So
will be my mantra when I ride.
yeah, and this is where even the thought of connecting your legs into gravity can be very helpful. This is why I wanted the weight in your legs, right? And when
Uh-huh.
you sort of imagine your feet are on the ground and the sidewalk is directly underneath you, it gives you more power because when she
Mhm.
loses her balance, she's going to try to push your leg outward. And if you get
Mhm.
longer up and down and connect to gravity, you have a lot more resistance to just
Oh,
keep the
yeah.
leg there.
Okay. I'm writing that down.
So vertical and our connection to gravity is really our superpower.
hmm
And that
Okay.
way, nobody ever sees us move, but I have sweat
hmm
rolling down my back. It is hard work, right?
hmm
So
hmm
what we're doing is creating sort of a muscular resistant wall for her energy to sort of hit and go forward and just bounce off of and go forward.
Okay.
And right
That's
now, you may feel her really push towards the left, the left, the left. You
Hmm.
may need your weight to the right while you point your seat bones right, which is hard to do, and keep
Hmm.
her neck straight, which is going to be a
Hmm.
lot of right rein. That combination will enhance her coordination.
Okay.
Does that make
All right.
sense?
That makes sense. Makes sense. I can feel that.
Yeah. And I go, a simple thing like steering suddenly just becomes like we have to relearn how to do it like we've never
Yes.
learned before.
Yes. Because it's keeping aware of everything.
Yeah. And this is where how we give the aids, how we use our body, and how we give the aids is really what makes the difference between helping a horse find balance or
Right.
perpetuating dysfunction.
Yeah.
And the way we're trained is like more leg. Well, what is that? What do you
It's
mean
so
more leg?
true. I've
Right?
had so many instructors tell me, just put your left leg on and push her over.
And this was sort of the slippery slope I found diving into what they call equine biomechanics.
Hmm.
I go, it just gave people a more complicated version of pushing body parts around.
Hmm.
And I go, it's not the body parts that we're playing with. It's the force of
Yeah.
motion that is generated by the body
Hmm.
parts is what we balance.
Yeah. And
And
again,
I,
Willow loves this. She thinks, like, finally, you know,
yeah.
finally my person is beginning to get it.
Oh, I'm so happy you said that, Pat, because that was my experience. That is most of, the people who really stick with me, it's like their horse is just happier. They're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
they,
I mean, not that she was ever miserable, you know.
no.
She's been a good horse.
But
I mean,
the work time itself, it's like horses, people think work is a four-letter word. And I go, it depends. When the horses
yeah,
are feeling the benefit of your guidance, they look forward to the work.
yeah,
They love to work with you.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's not like dragging them to the arena anymore. They
yeah.
want to participate and it becomes like a dance partner, which
Yes,
to me
yes,
was
which
my
is the
goal.
whole purpose of the whole thing, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Huh. Okay,
Yeah.
it's a lot, but
That's a
it's
lot.
perfect.
Yeah, let me stop the recording there.